Hello everyone and welcome to the Tastyworks platform. My name is Ryan Grace and today I'm going to give you an overview of the Tastyworks desktop platform. When you first open up the Tastyworks platform, you'll notice that it's broken up into three sections. We have a left side panel, a middle workstation, and a right side panel. Most of the time you're going to spend in the middle workstation, but let's focus on the left side panel for just a moment. On the left side, you'll see two basic watch lists. We have a recent symbols watch list, so as you look at different symbols within the platform, you'll see that populate. And down here, we have a watch list that you can quickly reference, so you can see where your positions are, or you can take a look at one of the default watch lists we have in the platform, as well as create a custom watch list. And you'll also notice that a cool thing about the Tastyworks platform is that when you click on any symbol, it changes that navigation across the software. So as I click on Starbucks, you'll see that information for Starbucks loads at the top of the platform, as well as a chart on the right-hand side. And as we navigate throughout the platform, you'll see that the Starbucks option chain is already populated. And if we were to jump over to a chart, there's a chart of Starbucks as well. So we don't have to type the symbol in each time we decide to make a new trade or view a chart of the historical price. Additionally, when we look at the platform, you'll notice that there's some information that pertains to your account at the top. So you'll see which account you're actively trading in, which is indicated by this trading symbol. You can open up your balances, so you'll see that you have X amount of cash and you're starting day trading buying power. You'll also see the day trade counter and the number of trades that you've placed today. In addition to your portfolio beta-weighted deltas, your portfolio theta value, your net liquidating value, and how much money you've made or lost on both the daily basis and a yearly basis. And when you're placing trades, you want to keep track of how much available buying power you have. So you can see your available buying power for both options and stocks just to the right of your P&L day and your P&L year to date. You can also minimize this section if you want to hide it from coworkers or simply just increase the space. Now let's take a look at the other two sections within the platform, the main workstation and the right side panel. You'll notice that you can do a variety of the same things within the platform from a variety of different places. On the right-hand side, we have some of the same tabs that are available within the main work section. But first, let's focus on the positions tab. The positions tab is where you're going to view all of the information that pertains to your account. You can see how well your positions are doing. And you can also close or manage positions from this tab as well. So let's take a look at a position that maybe we want to make a change to, or simply just close out of. If we click on it, it'll open up the details of the position, and then we can select the individual legs of the position. Once we do that, and we right click, we'll open up a menu that gives us the ability to close the position. We can close the position at a specific profit target. We can quickly roll into the next expiration, or we can take a look at the prices should we decide to roll into an expiration just beyond the very next expiration. Additionally, if we want to analyze our position, we can click on Analysis, and this will bring up our Analyze mode, which is an overlay for the trade page. We'll get to that in a moment, but let's get back to the Positions tab. On the Positions tab, you can filter your existing positions. Right now, we're looking at them as a symbol group. But if we wanted to remove options or futures, as we click on those, you'll see that they go away. So right now, we're only looking at working orders. And if we wanted to break these out so that they're not grouped by symbol, click on symbol and you'll see that now we just have the individual legs of the option. Most of the time though, I like to have stocks, options, futures, and group by symbol all selected, and periodically come in and look at my closed positions throughout the day. Additionally, you can configure this page so that you have a custom view of the information that you want to see. Anywhere within the platform where you see a gear, click on that and that'll open up the settings for that particular section as well as the overall settings for the platform. If you want to customize what's displayed, you'll see that you have a variety of data points over here on the left-hand side. If there's something that's not displayed, all you need to do is click on it and it will add it to the platform. From here, we can then drag and drop to change its order. So if we move this all the way up here, you'll see that now we have it as our first column when we close out of this. And there's that close price. If we open this up, you can see that. So again, it's really easy. to customize what you see here on the Positions tab, as well as throughout the platform by clicking on this gear button, which will open up the settings. Now let's move on to the meat of the platform, get into the important stuff, and take a look at the trade page. When we click on trade, it'll bring up the trade page for the symbol that we're viewing. If we want to view a different symbol, it's really easy to do this as well. We can either click on it on one of our watch lists, or we can type the symbol in at the top. So if we wanted to look at Apple, all we'd have to do is type in AAPL or click on it on a watch list within the platform. So let's jump over to the table and take a look at how to set up some trades. When we're on the table, this is our traditional option chain. And there's a couple different ways to set up trades within the platform, but I want to show you the easiest way first. All you need to do is first click on the expiration date in which you'd like to place your trade. When you do that, that'll open up the option chain for that expiration, and obviously we have our calls on the left, our puts on the right, and we can see those prices right here on the chain. If I want to sell an option, all I need to do is click on the bid. So if we were to sell the 175 put, and I click on the bid of $1.30, I'm now selling the 175 put. If I choose to buy an option, all I need to do is click on the ask. And you can see that as I do this, it's really easy to start to set up different strategies and structure your trades. So here, we're selling a vertical put spread, the 175, 165 put spread in the regular August expiration for Apple stock. If I want to make an adjustment to the strikes, it's also easy to do that as well. Just simply drag and drop right here on the option chain. So I can decide to sell the 185 and maybe buy the 175 instead. And you'll see that as I make adjustments, this changes the information that's displayed within the trade page. At the bottom of the page, we have information around the probability of profit, the extrinsic value of the trade, the probability of this reaching 50% of its max potential profit, the current delta of the potential trade, its theta value, and some details around the max profit and the max loss. Just below this information, we also have a set of controls that will allow us to adjust the trade as well. So while it's really easy to make adjustments by simply just dragging and dropping the options here across the strike bar on the option chain, you can click the buttons if you choose to do so. So I can make adjustments by clicking the strikes button. I can also widen or tighten the spread. I can increase the quantity or decrease the quantity, and also change the expiration. So if we want to go out into September, we need to click plus a couple times, and that'll take us into the September regular monthly expiration. Also, if we've decided that, maybe we don't want to sell the spread, but instead we want to buy the spread, you can easily do that by clicking on the swap button, and you can see that we're now buying the 185 and selling the 175. We also have a couple buttons here that are very similar to the back or forward buttons found in a web browser. This is your undo and redo. So we just decided to swap this and buy the 185, 175. If I click on undo, it takes us back to what we were viewing before, the 185 that we're selling, and the 175 that we're buying. Also, if we want to clear this off and set up a new trade, just click on this red eraser underneath the word clear, and that's going to remove it from the screen. As I mentioned, there's a lot of ways to do the same thing within the platform, and that goes for setting up trades as well. So while my favorite way to set up trades, and I think the easiest way to structure a trade, is to click on either the bid or the ask, the bid to sell it and the ask to buy it, we can also set up trades by using our strategy menu. The strategy menu is found at the top of the platform. And if you open up the strategy menu by clicking on this blue arrow pointing down, you'll see that we have the ability to trade all of these different strategies, and we can choose to either sell them if it's indicated by short or buy them indicated by long. We can also toggle whether or not we're using calls or puts by simply clicking on those words. And once we've decided on a strategy that we'd like to use, for example, maybe selling an iron condor, click on the blue Go button to the right of the strategy name, and this will populate it on the screen. From here, we can make adjustments to the trade by dragging and dropping, and we can ultimately set up a trade that we want to place. Once we've decided on the strategy that we want to use and the trade that we want to place, take a look at the bottom of the platform. This shows you the same thing that's displayed at the top, as well as the individual prices for those options and the market for your spread. So we can see that this spread, or this iron condor, has a midpoint of $1.91. If we were to route this order at $1.91, that would be our trade price. If we choose to adjust it and maybe sell it for more, we can click on the up arrow, and each click will adjust this by a penny, or we can click within the box and we can put in a custom price. So maybe we want to sell this for $2. If we type in $2, that'll then allow us to sell this for $2. And if I click up, I can go to 201 or start to click down, I can decrease the price. Once we've decided on a price, we also need to decide on a time in force. So this gives me the ability to route this order as a day order, which means it'll be a working order until the end of the trading day, at which point the order will expire if it hasn't been canceled or filled. If I instead decide to use a GTC or a GTD is a good till canceled, and a GTD is a good till date. The GTC order will remain a working order until it's filled or it's canceled. The GTD order will remain a working order until it's filled or it reaches a certain point in time. Today, I'm going to use a day order and click on Review and Send to double check the details of the trade, where I can see the cost of the trade, the commission and estimated fees, and the estimated buying power. So what this is telling me is that I'm going to receive a credit of $200 should I get filled at my price of $2. When I consider the commission and fees, that total credit is $195.42, and my buying power is going to be reduced by $304.58. If I'm okay with this, I can click the orange Send Order button, at which point this becomes a live working order until it gets filled or canceled, and you'll see that in your activity section. Or I can decide to make some changes if I don't like what I see and click on Edit Order. That'll take me back to the previous screen. From here, I can decide to make an adjustment to the price, and let's just route this a little ways away from the market so that we'll see this show up in our activity. I've decided on my price. I'm now going to click the orange Send Order button, and we can see a message that appears momentarily indicating that it's now a working order. And throughout the platform now, we'll see this information on the activity section. So we have an activity section on the right-hand side panel for quick reference, or we have an activity page within our Marine workstation. And this activity page will display all of our working orders as well as filled orders or any canceled or expired orders, rejected orders that we have as well. And you can see that those filters work by simply just clicking on or off. So as I click off of canceled, that canceled order is removed as we would expect, and we're left displaying our working and filled orders. While staying on the activity page, let's briefly talk about how you can make an adjustment to the price of a working order if the market's moving away from you and you want to get filled. Just like on the Positions tab, when you click on any of these orders, you'll bring up a menu. And this is where you're going to be able to cancel your order, replace the order, or set up a similar or opposite order. And I was able to do this by right-clicking anywhere within the order. So over here, if I right-click, I'll bring up the menu, as well as over here in the activity section, I'll bring up the menu. And you'll also notice that we have an additional activity section within our overview. And if I right-click, I have the ability to cancel, replace, or set up a similar or opposite order. So when I'm looking at this and I'm working in order to get filled in Apple, I can see that here's my spread. I'm working in order to sell an iron condor. The midpoint or market price right now is $1.85. My price is $2.05. So unless the midpoint or the market price gets up to $2.05, I'm not likely to get filled on this trade. So maybe I want to make an adjustment. It's really easy to do that and bring the price down. If I right-click, click on Replace Order, that'll take me back to the trade page again, and from here I can make an adjustment to the price and maybe bring this down a little bit to $1.95. Clicking Review and Send again will then change that price, and you can see it canceled the previous order. Now we have a new order working at our new price of $1.95, while the market price has ticked up slightly to $1.88 and back down to $1.85. So additionally, on the trade page, we have a variety of ways that you can view your trade setup. What we're looking at right now is our table mode, or the traditional option chain. But what's really cool about the Tastyworks platform is that we have an additional curve view that uses a horizontal orientation. So it really helps new traders get a great sense of what they want the price of the stock to do depending on the strategy that they're using. So let's take a look again at that iron condor in Apple. If we click on Go, from the strategy menu, we have the short iron condor, which means we're selling the iron condor. If I make an adjustment here, we'll sell the 180, 175 put, and we'll make an adjustment by just dragging and dropping, and we'll sell the 205, 210 call spread. We can see the current price is 186. Maybe we want to adjust that a little bit, which again is easy to do by just clicking on the up or down arrows to adjust the price or typing a price within the order ticket. But at the top of the platform, if I click on curve, this will change my view. And from here, I can see what I want the price of the stock to do relative to the strategy that I'm using. And this is indicated by the green profit zones and the red loss zones. So this gives me a visual indication that I want the stock price to stay above 180 and below 205 and stay in this green profit zone. If it moves outside of that green profit zone and into the red loss zone, I'll start to lose money on my trade, but I know that when I look at the details of the trade at the bottom of the order ticket here, the most I can lose is $310 and the most I can make is $190. So there's some more information about the trade and also a visual representation of how the strategy works. And I think the curve is a great way for new traders to feel comfortable trading options and learn how these different strategies behave. So if options aren't your thing, and you're more interested in trading individual stocks or futures, we have an active trader tab as well, which is part of the 3 different trade modes here that we're looking at. We have our table, which again is the traditional option chain, our curve, which is a horizontal visualization or orientation of what we're doing, and then we have the active trader tab. And the active trader tab is where you're going to spend most of your time if you're a futures trader or you like to trade single stocks. So when we look at the active tab, we have the symbols that we're trading over here on the left-hand side. And these symbols are populated based on the watch list that we're viewing. The watch list can be selected up here in the upper right corner by clicking on the drop-down arrow. And right now, by default, we're looking at Tasty Trade Futures because the active trader tab is where we're going to trade futures. Just like on the option chain, if I click on the bid, it'll allow me to sell the future, and if I click on the ask, it'll set up an order to buy the future. If I want to buy crude because I think it might be going higher, I can click on the ask, and you'll see as soon as I hover my cursor over that indicator appears. When I click on it, it then gives me the ability to adjust the price. And again, just like on the trade table or the option chain, it's really easy to drag and drop the indicator to set the price. So if I want to buy it a little bit lower, maybe down here at $74, I can drag this down and you'll see that now we've set the price at 74. I can also click to adjust the price as well. And then once I click on send, that again becomes a working order. If we quickly cancel this, we can right click to cancel the order, or we can click on this and then click on the X to cancel the order. It's also really easy to make adjustments to this in a fast moving market. So if I click on the ask to buy the future again, and then I adjust the price, once that's a working order, I can continuously adjust this price. So if I want to move this down, just drag and drop, and as soon as I let go of the cursor, it cancels the order and replaces it at the new price. And the same thing if I move this higher. Additionally, when setting up trades on the active tab, I have the ability to change the quantity as well as the order type. So with futures, I can set up limit orders or market orders, or if I have a position on and I want to put a stop in place, I have the ability to use a stop limit or stop market. Finally, for any symbol that you select on the active trader tab, you'll notice some additional details about that symbol. On the right-hand side, we can see what the symbol represents: light sweet crude oil futures for the August 17th date. We have the last price, the change on the day, the percentage change on the day, the minimum tick size, which is a penny, and the notional value, which is $1,000. So that tells me that every penny that the price of the contract changes, it's actually a $10 increase or decrease depending on my position. We also know that because the notional is $1,000, if it increases by $1, that's a $1,000 profit or a $1,000 loss, depending on whether or not I'm long or short. And that's how we get that $10 per tick value when we look at a minimum tick of 1 penny. If I had a position on, it would show me details of this position, but I don't currently. If we do focus on this though, we can see there's 10 days until this contract expires. And if I was interested in understanding more about the equivalent ETF that would give me exposure to the same product without as much leverage, this is going to tell me that the equivalent symbol is USO, which is the United States Oil Fund. Now let's take a look at the watch list. If you're not on the watch list within the platform, it's the button just underneath Activity. And if you don't know what these buttons are, as you hold your cursor over them, you'll get a little menu that tells you which each one is. Watch list is the first one in that menu. So on the watch list, we can do a variety of different things. And this is the main workstation, which is going to give us a little bit more flexibility than what we can do when we look at a watch list over here on the left-hand side. So from here, just like on the Positions tab, we can customize our view. And to customize the view, remember, just click on the gear button. That'll open up the settings for that particular page or for the whole platform. And since we're on a watch list, we have the ability to choose what we want to display or also see what's not displayed. And if we want to bring it over, all you have to do is click on it and then make an adjustment by dragging and dropping, and that will change the order. So we've added the earnings date, click OK, and now we can see when some of these companies have earnings, with Tesla being on August 1st. And if there's a purple bell, we have the data that indicates whether or not that earnings announcement is expected before or after the market closes. So if the arrow is pointing to the left, it's before the bell. If it's pointing towards the right, it's after the bell, which most stocks typically announce at. We also have the ability to sort the watch list, and that can be done by clicking on any of these labels at the top that are highlighted when I hold my cursor over the label. So maybe you're interested in quickly seeing what stocks are up the most or down the most. If I click on percentage change, now we can see that out of my positions, this one's down the most, and if we scroll to the bottom, Carnival Cruise Lines is up the most. If we jump over to one of the default watch lists or any custom watch lists that we've created, all we need to do is click on the drop-down menu and we'll see those watch lists. So let's take a look at the Tasty Trade stocks list. But let's also think that, maybe we want to look for a specific opportunity. We have a filter for the watch list that we can open by clicking on the button that looks like a funnel or a filter. And you'll see that when I do that, it opens up the quote filter. From here, I have the ability to filter out stocks that have an upcoming earnings announcement, and I can choose the number of days that I want to work with. And I can also look for opportunities where there's high implied volatility or low implied volatility. And that filter is just below our earnings range. So, for example, if we wanted to exclude stocks that have an upcoming earnings announcement in the next roughly 30 days, we can set the first filter. And then if we want to look for stocks that only have high implied volatility but do not have earnings within the next 30 days, we can set this IV rank range so that maybe it's something like 50 to 100 or close, 49 to 100. You'll see that as I do that, there's not that many stocks at the moment that have both high implied volatility but are not going to announce earnings upcoming. There are 4, and they're now displayed within the list. We also want to look at the liquidity, and so that if we want to make sure we're trading liquid underlyings, we want to have our 4-star and 3-star liquidity meters selected. But if we want to reset the filter and get back to the original view of the watch list, all we need to do is simply click Reset and then click off of the filter, and that gets us back to our original view. We have a bunch of default watch lists within the platform, but you're probably wondering, how do I set up a custom watch list? Well, it's really easy to set up a custom watch list and then add symbols to that list. Click on the gear button to open up the settings, and then click on the tab for lists. When you do that, you'll then be able to start to enter in a symbol. So let's say we want to add Apple, AAPL, to a list. It appears, and now we have the ability to add it to an existing list from our drop-down menu or add it to a new list. To add it to a new list, click the green Add New List button, and this will then prompt me to give the watch list a name. So let's call it New List. Once I do that, I need to click on Add Apple to New List, but I've already done this. So let's call it something else. Maybe we call it New List. And now we get a message that lets us know we've successfully created our watch list as well as adding Apple to that list. So if I close out of this and then open up our new list that we just created, you'll see it at the very bottom there. I have the ability to quickly start to add symbols here. So when we think about other stocks that might be similar to Apple, Netflix comes to mind. Clicking the blue plus button will add it to the list. Maybe we want to add Amazon as well. And again, clicking the blue plus button will add it to the list. So it's really easy within the settings to first create a watch list and then to add symbols to that watch list from either the left-hand side panel or from back within the settings menu, locating that list and just adding it to the titled list. Finally, in the platform, I want to point out a few more tabs that I think will be helpful for everybody. We have a Tasty Trade tab, so if you'd like to watch Tasty Trade, you can check out our video content right here within the platform. We also have the ability to jump to a chart. And this is another area where you might spend a lot of your time, taking a look at what's been going on and trying to make predictions as to what's going to happen next. So here we're looking at a chart of crude oil. It's very easy to quickly look at a chart of any symbol that you click on. So as I click on Starbucks, for example, or Amazon, Apple in my list, it'll load the data for that chart. If I click on the indicators, I have a handful of different common technical indicators that I can use, and I can also adjust both the length of the chart and the bars that I'm looking at. So right now we're looking at a 3-year time period, and we're looking at it on a daily basis. So each one of these bars represents 1 day of trading. If I wanted to look at this on a monthly basis, I need to click on the M for month. And this will give me the movement or range of the price over the last month for the last 3 years. So each month over the last 3 years. If I want to change that and look at it over a longer period, let's say a 10-year period, I can do that as well. So now we're looking at monthly bars on a 10-year period. I think you'll get the hang of this as you play around with it, but we typically like to look at a 1-year period and look at those daily bars. You can also zoom in a little bit or speed the chart up, and to do that, all you need to do is take a look at, say, a 5-minute period or 5-minute bars across that 2-day period. Additionally, you can change the type of chart. So if we want to change it from candlesticks to a bar chart or a line or even an area graph, we have the ability to do that as well. And then also open up some settings here for the chart. If you'd like to add some trend lines or any other annotations to your chart, click on the cursor and this will give the ability to add a number of different annotations. Finally, to zoom in or out at any point in the chart, all you need to do is drag the plus or minus zoom in the upper right corner. If you're interested in taking a look at the history of your trading activity, click on the History tab, and this will give you all of your transactional history on a line-by-line basis, as well as your year-to-date performance for that account. So from here, you can see your realized P&L, your unrealized P&L, your P&L year-to-date, the commissions that you've paid, as well as any additional fees that are associated with trading. Finally, we have a cool tab here that can help new traders gain insight into how different strategies work and see what other Tasty traders are currently trading. And that's the Follow tab. When you click on the Follow tab, it'll populate a feed of all of our featured traders. So if you're a Tasty trader and you watch the Tasty Trade Network, you'll see a handful of familiar faces down below. If you want to drill down into what each one of those individuals is trading, just simply click on that person's icon and you'll see the list of their previous trading activity. From here, you'll also be able to click on individual trades, and if you want to duplicate this trade or view some more information about it, click on Duplicate this trade. That'll prompt you with a disclaimer. Click yes, and then it'll take you over to the trade page so you can see the details of the trade. And that's the Follow page, where we have a lot of insight into what's going on with the Tasty traders. So if there's a particular person that you follow that has a show and they're talking about a trade idea on the show, this is a spot where you might spend some of your time. And finally, we have a help section within the platform. So if you click on help, that'll populate our help section where you can find this video as well as all of the other videos that we've created detailing how the different sections of the Tastyworks desktop software work.